Shalom. Hot on the heels of the strenuous 24-hour plus fast of Yom Kippur, Jews around the world are bidden to go to their backyards and build a hut, a sukkah, in which we're supposed to eat and live. Actually, many people sleep in them for a week. For a chazan, it's more like running the liturgical marathon without actually sweating, but I digress. What I would like to speak to you today is about a very unique, actually two quite unique tefillot, prayers, that are chanted only once a year each. On the first day of Passover, of Pesach, we sing Tal, the prayer for dew. Very important. I have a lot more to say about that when we get to Pesach. On Sukkot, a similar sort of a brother or sister of Tal is the prayer for rain called Geshem. We do this prayer on the 8th day of the festival. It's not even Sukkot anymore. In fact, it's Shmini Atzeret, a festival that's contiguous to Sukkot, but a separate holiday that's meant for an assembly of the Jews because God wanted to have us close to Him just one more day. That's according to the rabbis. Preceding the beginning of the Musaf of each of these days, the first day of Passover or the 8th day of following Sukkot, the Shmini Atzeret, Tal and Geshem are done thusly. The chazan goes out and puts on a white kittel, a white robe, which represents piety, and then comes out and chants a beautiful and ancient melody for the Chatzi Kaddish. It goes something like, Yitkadal, Yitkadash. For those of you who are very, very aware of the melodies of the synagogue, you'll notice that even though it has a run, ta-da-da-da-da-da-da, it's very similar to Ne'ilah. Ta-dee-dum, da-dee-da-da-da-dee-dum. Not the same, but it has the same feel. It connotes importance. And it's a very, very old melody. I'm not sure how old, but we may be talking 9th century or before. After beginning the repetition of the Musaf Amida, which follows the Kaddish, we have a lovely piyut, a liturgical poem. It's called Af Beri. It was composed for Tal and Geshem. There's a different Af Beri for each of these. It's a short poem by Elazar Kalir. He was one of the earliest of our liturgical poets and a master of alphabetical acrostic poetry. You often find his name Kalir or something like it. In this fascinating piyut, he tells us about Af Beri. What's Af Beri? That's the name of the angel of the rain clouds. The rainy season in Israel begins with the onset of fall, of course. A dry fall in winter would be disastrous for Eretz Yisrael, for the irrigation of spring and summer. In fact, it's no surprise that modern Israel has been at the cutting edge of irrigation techniques since its inception. So why do we do Geshem, rain, the rain prayer, on Shmini Atzeret, the 8th day, and Tal on the first day of? You would think that they're equally important, therefore we should do them on the first day of the holiday. Well, it's actually quite simple. The answer lies in the ancient belief that rain, which can be both beneficial and extremely destructive, can be affected by our prayers, that we pray for rain. After all, Avinu Malkeinu is basically a prayer that asked God to bring rain for the sake of all our various mitzvot of the past, our forefathers and foremothers, etc. And it was written by Rabbi Akiva. So a prayer for rain is obviously very important. Every agricultural people in the world have prayers for rain. But let's think about it. Rainfall would be rather unwelcome for a holiday where you have to live and eat in a booth, right, with a straw covering. We wouldn't want it to ruin our Sukkot, right? So the rabbi said, well, let's not pray for rain until like the end, Shmini Atzeret, where we don't have to be in the booth anymore, and then the rain can start coming. So that's our reason. By the way, the very interesting fact is that Af Beri is the name of the angel. Af means anger, and Beri means health, from Briut, reflecting the fact that rain can fall gently for the earth and crops, or in torrents of anger. It's a beautiful prayer, and you ought to look it up. The traditional synagogues still sing it, most of the liberal synagogues, including Anshe Emet. It's not even in our Siddur. But then comes the 6 short paragraphs of Geshem. Each one is dedicated to one of our ancestors, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aharon, and the 12 tribes. We chant a condensed history of each of these people and the tribes in relation to important events in their lives dealing with water, crossing the Jordan, wells that were dug or covered, etc. And each paragraph ends with a 4-word chatima, an ending for his sake, do not withhold water, for the sake of Abraham, for the sake of Isaac, etc. And alternative paragraphs end with, for the sake of his righteousness, grant abundant water. Okay, so we're a little greedy. In the Ashkenazic tradition, Tal is chanted in a pastoral minor with a little bit of a havarabba, which reminds one of the songs of the Chalutzim, the early settlers of Israel. While Geshem, although using many of the same motifs, also stresses the mode ahavarabba, the Phrygian with an augmented second, that is often referred to as the Jewish mode. Not accurately, by the way. It's used by a lot of people throughout the world. Suffice it to say that it is one of the favorite modes of the Jew and many other peoples of the Middle East and Eastern Europe. So, come to Shmini Atzeret and listen to this prayer, and which ends something like Bavoro Aletim Nabayim. For the rest, you're going to have to come to shul, okay? May Israel and we all be blessed with a year of gentle, nourishing rain and peace. Chag Sameach.